What's up, everybody? How's it going? How's it going? You are live here with me today. It is Wednesday, October 4th. My name is Ashley Casper, and I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on my Facebook profile as well on my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe or follow at either one, whichever one is your preference. And drop a comment. Let me know where you are tuning in from. And I would love to engage with you, and I can share the comments on the screen. We can have a little bit of a chat back and forth. It makes the lives a little more engaging. But I'm excited about the topic that I'm going to share with you today. What is principle-centered leadership, and how does it apply to business? And so a little backstory. I have dabbled in business, in many different business ideas on my entrepreneurial journey. I have done network marketing, multi-level marketing. I've made handmade jewelry. I've sold that. I've done some of my artwork and tried to sell that. I've done affiliate marketing and created some digital products and stuff. So I've kind of dabbled in a lot of different things. But in all of it, I was lacking something. And in the midst of it all, I really didn't know exactly what I was missing, but I just knew I was missing something. And I thought it was marketing. I thought that I needed more marketing training. And in a lot of ways I did. But I also second guessed, was it me or was it the marketing training? And I second guessed me because you always hear, like, if you're not getting results, you're not doing the work, And I was doing some of the work, but some of the marketing didn't fully align with me. So that was kind of why I felt like I needed more marketing. But either way, in the midst of, I was lost, I was confused, I was ready to give up. But I knew that the entrepreneurial path was one that was meant for me, even as a kid. I don't know if you guys have ever read the books or watched the movies or the shows. I think it was a show back in the day. Hey, Janine, thanks for tuning in live. But it was called The Babysitter's Club back in the 90s. And I was so inspired by the Babysitter's Club that I wanted to create my own babysitter's business. So I was planning, I had it all planned out. My friends, I was going to hire them as employees. I was way too young for anybody to trust me with their kids. And I knew that. I was okay with that. I was planning for the future. I remember I would tell my mom, my grandparents, my brother, and I didn't care what they said. And so I knew that this was, in my heart to do. And so giving up was not an option. So I took a step back, kind of reevaluated, what tools do I have? What things am I still signed up for? What talents, skills do I have that I can offer? What can I do to shift this around? And I had this tool that a friend of mine had actually introduced to me when I was in one of the MLM companies, and I used it to build a site for my team. And I was still with that. I still had access to that tool, and I knew that it was an amazing tool. And I knew that the company was really good, not because I had experienced it, but because the person that I signed up for shared a lot with me about the company and how great it was. But I never jumped in myself in the beginning when because I was focused on other businesses. I wasn't really focused on this one. And I was just using the tool. And I didn't quite know just how much of a gold mine I had at my fingers. And but once I did, I started hearing. So let me rewind a little bit. Many times I've been guilty of this so many times where we sign up for a tool, and in many, many cases, these tools that are available online, they come with training. Like even my GetResponse account that I use for email marketing, it has training and it's back office, so a lot of these tools, if you have tools that you're in, and you're in business like I am, check your back office and things to make sure that you are diving all in and you're absorbing all of the content that you can and the knowledge, because knowledge can't hurt, right? So Bernadette says, hello. Hi, Bernadette. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's nice to see a new face. Hope you'll hang out with us for a little while. And Oh, what'd she say? We think just, yes, absolutely. We think we're just signing up for another tool, but there's so much more that typically, not every time, but typically the companies that develop those tools, they give you a little bit more with it. So make sure you're checking your back office and you're really delving into everything. And I had this tool for like a year before I really delved into it. So once I jumped in and really started to experience it, I started hearing things like principle centered leadership. And I had never heard that term before. I was like, what? How is that different than any other leadership? Isn't leadership supposed to be good and general? And I learned really quickly that in itself was gold. And so if you're anything like I was, struggling in business, feeling lost, not exactly sure, what you were missing in order to be successful, this might be something that, that you're looking for. So I'm going to explain exactly what principle centered leaders, what that means, and then how it applies to our business. So what is a principle? A principle is a fundamental truth. And so when you have principle centered leaders, their intent is in teaching goals that are instilling ethical principles and values into the professionals or the students that they're leading. And this includes principles like honesty, transparency, fairness, and when you're in the business world, respect for consumer rights. That's a really big one for me. And I felt like, I was infringing on some people's rights whenever I was just doing some of the cold messaging and things that they were, teaching and training us to do. So Bernadette says, I'm on lunch break, so I need all the training I can get. Awesome. Super glad that you're here. And you're in the right place, Bernadette. That's what Janine says. Thank you, Janine. All right. So, the consumer rights was a big one for me because I just didn't feel right with the way that I was marketing. And so principle-centered leaders, they also prioritize the needs and interests of the customers above all else. It encourages they encourage you to create value and building long-term relationships based on trust and mutual benefit. That's a big one, a mutual benefit. How can I benefit and you benefit? Not just me. I'm not here to just get the sale. We're here to see how we can help each other. And I love that so much because I'm not a guru. Bernadette may know some serious stuff that I have no idea. And if she wants to share it with me, I want to hear about it, and that's what we're here for, is that mutual benefit. How can we give back just as much as we're receiving? Authenticity. That's another big part of principle-centered leadership is authenticity. They encourage that in your marketing communications and just your communication in general and delivering high value. Marketers are encouraged to be transparent about their products and services. We're not here to deliver a bunch of hype to make people think that our products or our services are more than what they really are. What they are should be enough, So, and principle-centered leaderships are going to teach you to avoid that deceptive practice and teach you to build those genuine connections, because that's where it's at. The long-term focus, long-term success over short-term gains. We were on a call this morning and a couple of the leaders were, the topic of Ponzi scheme came up. And they were talking about someone that they were actually in business with previously. One of them were having a conversation with him. And he was telling him that, whatever this company thing was that he was doing, that, it'll probably shut down in about 3 or 4 months or so. But right now we're earning like 2 to 3% on the investments, and you should totally get in on this. And this was stuff that was way out of my realm of things. So I didn't fully understand it, but I did understand the lack of ethics behind it, the lack of the principle-centered leadership that was behind it. And this guy knew that this thing was going to shut down after a few months. He knew that it wasn't going to be long term, and that people that he was telling, oh yeah, get in now, some of them were I think that they said someone had done a refi on their house. They had gotten loans to do this. And within 3 months, they were no longer getting any kind of money from this. They had put up their entire livelihood. And that guy was just in it for the short-term gains. And that is not at all what principle-centered leadership teaches you. Teaches you ethical decision making. Many times we are faced with, especially as a beginner, there may be complex situations where you're not really sure how to navigate them with full integrity and heart. I know it came up about, someone receiving messages from people that are just like, buy my product, do this, buy my product. And like how that you can shift that conversation to be more full of integrity and heart. And sometimes it's hard to do that with people, so you have to kind of get stern. So that was the topic, is how can we respond to these people in a way that feels good for us and not in the way that our human form might want to, of, get away from me. That's not how you market, and give it back to them the way that they're giving it to you. And so I think that is really important to teach you the guidance on how to navigate those, really difficult situations. There's a quote that says, men and time change, but principles never do. And knowing that, there's consistent guidelines that we can follow that are going to help us create a better business and in turn a better world, then I want to study those principles. I want to soak those up daily so that they flow out of me more naturally. And so that's what I had to share with you today. The principle-centered leadership, what exactly it means. And so let me get back to my list here. I'm getting a little bit off. So since learning all of this, number one, getting on these videos feels so much easier because I'm not out here. I don't feel like I'm trying to get anyone. I feel like I'm trying to give something, and I have something to give, and I'm excited about it. So my marketing feels so much better than it used to. It actually makes hitting the go live button a little bit easier, and it's truer to who I am now. And I get to express my goofy and my creative self and attract the people that are aligned with that, because ultimately that's who I was put here on earth to connect with and to help, and maybe to get some help back from them. And you were put here to to do the same thing, but in your own unique and different way. And so that's one of the things that has been a really big eye opener for me, is acknowledging not everybody's for me. So when someone turns me down these days, I don't get hurt about it. It's just like, okay, not my person, going to move on to the next person that is more aligned with me, and that we can both, support each other. And so with all of that, it's been a beautiful journey since I have discovered principle-centered leadership. And no matter what life throws at me, I'm super thrilled to be on it. And I want to invite you that if you don't already have a principle-centered leader or leaders within your life that are helping you learn from, then maybe this community might be a good fit for you. And if any of this resonates, check out my website. There's lots of free goodies, not asking for a sign up, lots of free goodies here that will kind of share what this principle-centered leaders within this community, this principle-centered community, there we go, got my words a little mixed up, what it is and what it might be able to do for you. So there's free training there. You can get into my creative stash where I share some of my printables, lots of really cool things there. So check that out at workwithamc.com. And that is what I had for you today. So let me get back to the comments. Yeah, Janine, you were on the call with me. You said one guy put up $1 million. That was crazy. So important to learn this. I get tongue-tied when they start throwing their stuff. Yeah, that can sometimes happen. I'm so grateful for you too, Janine. Love you so much. Awesome goodies. I'm glad that you got some value. Thank you again for tuning in. And that is it for today. And I will see you guys on Friday. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.